and you singular. And that's the thing that we miss in translation. Hebrew does the same thing. It has and it's part of the problem with translations is that you will get that. So the value of the King James I found is that it helps bring in that feature out so you know to whom the pronoun is referring. And notice that if you didn't know that, you might even skip that and not hear that, right? Does that have an importance in this message?
So you're saying that the King James helps you to decipher whether it's personal,
whether it's singular or plural when it comes to you.
Yeah, because when it said C or thee, it's definitely singular.
Thee is singular, and how do they handle you? Ye or you.
Yeah.
So the ye or you would refer to the
Plural. Right. And so occasionally when I'm studying through, I'll refer to the King James for that reason. That's one of the reasons it's good. Because remember I said yesterday about more literal translations? Mm-hmm. That's one of the ways it helps you, because we schmoozle that over and don't even pay attention, right? But it does show you here how he does this funneling. He starts off with everybody, and he narrows it down to Phil.
So that's strategy part 2, because in the original strategy, it was inclusive, everyone.
Right, and I think because everybody would be interested from the relationships, it sounds like if a letter comes from Paul, what is everybody going to be doing?
Listen.
What does he say? What does he say? What does Paul say? Because that's what happens when there's somebody you love. We used to get letters from my grandmother. And my mom would be reading it, and she'd have all these little piranha around her asking, what'd she say? Did she send me anything? Did she, that kind of thing. And we got to remember, in our world where we have this, our faces are in a text thing all the time, we don't realize that back then, you got a letter. It was a special event. I mean, if you were out in the fields and you heard, got a letter from Paul. They'd be running back to get there to, got a letter from Paul. Hey, everybody, got a letter from Paul. And then you have everybody like the piranha standing around the letter. What'd he say? What'd he say? What'd he say? Because Paul established that church apparently, right? So it's those dynamics that when you really listen, you hear a whole lot. And so when he says this, I make mention of you always in my prayers, it's got a role in this. So Paul shows the close connection with Phil in verse 4 by saying he is, no, let's do it this way. Let's use his words. He always does what?
Praise for him.
Makes mention of him, that's Phil, and that's right out of the text, right? Always make mention of him to God, right? When he prays. And is thanking God for Phil. Is that right?
Yeah.
But specifically, what is he thanking him for? What triggers this?
Phil's love and passion.
What do you think about it?
For his what?
What he heard about him. His love is
For Phil's love and faith
in Jesus and towards the saints.
towards Jesus. I'm going to put it, the Lord Jesus. And toward all the saints. Now you can just skip over that and maybe don't even notice, but he's done something right there that's crucial for what he's going to ask. What has he done?
Put him in the driver's seat, pretty much.
What do you mean by that?
by what he has done, he's dependent on him now to make a decision based on the faith that he's exemplified in Jesus.
So he's made a connection. Notice even here, there's this toward. Toward who?
Jesus and the saints.
Jesus and
all the saints.
All the saints.
So now he's made an inclusion.
So he has already demonstrated there's a history that Phil has, what Phil already exhibits. And that is love and faith that goes two ways. Which way?
Up, horizontal.
Up and out. To how many?
All.
All. Now all includes a lot, doesn't it? Who does all include now? Onesimus. Wow, this is an amazing letter, isn't it? Whole lot going on here. Because remember, why is he doing all this? Because he is establishing not only the relationship that they have, but what he recognizes in Phil. So, in doing this, Paul is showing that Phil demonstrates how often? How often?
Always.
Well, he says, I'm always praying for you in my prayers when I'm hearing of your love and faith, which you have toward the Lord Jesus and all the saints, that demonstrates Phil's character.
And his effectiveness.
Of love and faith. Well, we haven't gotten there yet. That's good, though. You're already making connections ahead, which is what we want to do. That's why we're doing this. So, would you say we have a fairly good summary so far of what's going on? Fairly good. There's more we could write if we worked our way through specifically each verse that we just did and shows that. But we already have that in the text. This is not just a summary, but we are following the logic of Paul, how he structures it so that for his message, because we know what his message is, right? We know what he wants to do. His message is basically receive him back as a brother. But why? Why receive him back as a brother?
Because of your love, your faith, your relationship with God.
Because of your love and faith and relationship with God, based upon that, and based upon the fact that he is a brother now to you. And we're going to see some more dynamics go on that he explains. He's even going to say something about, maybe this was a plan. Maybe there's more at work than we can see. So, your summary is really going to explain what this letter's about, right? And follow the thinking of the writer. So I think we've done a pretty good job so far. This is the kind of thing that you do every chapter. But now, let's say I moved on to another chapter and I finished that. Now I'm going to take what I have here and add what I've learned next to it. And that will be my next logical flow analysis. So this is like chapter 1, and then I'm going to put in here verses 1 through 5, right? Now, I ask you, how easy is it going to be for somebody to pull this out of context and jerk something out of there and you not spot it? And we're not even done. Because you know what's going on. You know why the letter's being written. You know what Paul wants to have done by it. You know what he's going to use as the basis for that. Wow. Makes a difference, doesn't it? All right, let's take a little break, and then we're going to get back into the text in verse 6, and we'll plow on through.